Shabbat shalom, it's Rabbi Landa here, and I would like to share with you a quick Shabbat message based on the Torah portion of the week. I would like to start by showing you our beautiful fig tree that we have been growing. Our family has been watering, nurturing, and working on having some beautiful figs, delicious figs, coming from this tree that is still quite young, and slowly it's making its way and making its entry into the world with delicious fruit and figs that we hope it grows. So I'd like to share a Torah message based on the parsha, the Torah portion of the week, about a mitzvah called Arla. Arla means, in the times when the Jewish people were in Israel until today in the land of Israel, a fruit, the first 3 years after a fruit tree is planted, it is forbidden, and it's a mitzvah not to eat from the fruit for the first 3 years of its growth. The 4th year you can have it in Jerusalem, and from the 5th year it's yours to benefit, enjoy, and delight from. But the first 3 years, the fruit that the tree produces is forbidden to eat. The mitzvah is called Arla. Many reasons are given, but I would like to just quote a Mishnah, which is the oral Torah, that teaches us just a fascinating law, and I would like to tell you a message based on this law. The Mishnah teaches us that what if the tree had its 3 years and it's growing and you didn't touch it, you're letting it do its thing, but then after 3 years you decide, you know what, it's time to replant this into another location. Like this one, it's right now in a little planter. We're going to want to plant it into the ground. So what if you're replanting it, you're uprooting it from one area, you're replanting it in another area? Do you have to count another 3 years, or the first 3 years already includes wherever you planted or replanted? So the Mishnah says it depends. If while you're uprooting it, it retains the hard soil around the roots, it's called sela in Hebrew, then even after you replant it somewhere else, it's considered the same tree, because it comes with its nurturing roots and soil around it, so it's still alive, it's still the same tree. But if when you uproot it, the soil around it, the hard soil, was taken away and it's not there anymore, so when you're replanting it, it has to come back to life, reproduce itself, nurture itself again. At that point, you have to count another 3 years. So it depends if when you're uprooting it, did the hard soil come along with it? Is it still nurturing the tree or not? So that's the law. That's the mitzvah of Arla, and if you replant it. But just quickly, I would like to share with you a message based on this law of the Mishnah, of something that I heard from a great rabbi in Australia, Rabbi Groner of blessed memory, who shared the following. The tree of Arla, the mitzvah of Arla, is symbolizing the Jewish people based in our homeland of Israel, and then we were uprooted. We were scattered around. The question is, how do we retain ourselves, our identity, even while in exile, even while outside of the land of Israel, while we're in the diaspora for thousands of years? How do we make sure, are we still the same people? Are we still connected to our roots? Are we still the tree of life? So the question is like this, based on the Mishnah. If when they're uprooted, the hard soil comes along with it, the nurturing soil, the potential to grow is still there, then even after it replants itself into another country, into another place, the tree of life is still a tree. It's still producing, it's still growing, it's still the same roots, it's the same tree, it's connected with the same source. But if when you uproot it, it's disconnected, the hard soil doesn't come along with it, then it requires a new rejuvenation. So friends, I would like to share with you, I have a colleague who's a Chabad rabbi on campus, and something quite controversial where there was a anti-Israel rally taking place on his campus, and a bunch of Jews, there was a group of Jews that were part of that anti-Israel rally, and they had signs and chants that were not flattering to the Jewish people at all, and to Israel. And yet he put out a message to this group, and he says, even if we have our differences, the doors of our community are always open. The doors of Chabad are always open. And he received a lot of feedback, both positive and negative. He got a lot of backlash from people saying, how could you invite them in if they're taking part of rallies that are so antithesis to what we are? And then there were a lot of positive feedback. But based on this message, I would like to just share that the idea that even when a tree is uprooted and it feels like it's scattered around, how do you know if it's still connected? It needs to have its hard soil. It needs to have nurture it needs to have the love from around it, from its environment. And I think that's what the rabbi was doing, and I think that's really a job for each and every one of us, to be a nurturing, kind, and loving environment for the people around us that seem scattered, that seem confused, that seem to be without a compass and a moral compass telling them what's right and what's wrong, and without a moral compass identifying who we are. Comes along each and every one of us, and the mitzvah of Arla, and it's saying as long as we have hard soil around, as long as the roots are still connected, we could weather any storm. As long as we have that roots connected to the hard soil, to our Torah, to our mitzvot, we could overcome anything, and we stand together. So I wish you a Shabbat Shalom, that we should be having that nurturing. We should never feel uprooted, not from our homeland, not from each other. We're all connected, we're all one. All we need is that nurturing love and kindness from each and every one of us. May that happen soon. Amen. I would like to also just give a quick shout out to the new class, JLI course that's coming up. It's called Advice for Life. It's a fascinating one as I'm preparing it. It's called Advice for Life, which is based on the teachings of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, my mentor, and the Rebbe to the whole world. And so much of his teachings are coming to the world. And this course will take 6 incredible classes on the advice the Rebbe gave to people, and a timeless advice and wisdom based on the teachings of the Torah for each and every one of us to live a more meaningful, a more mindful life. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you can make it. It will be on Tuesday evening starting 7 p.m. this coming Tuesday, May 14th. I hope you see you there. Shabbat Shalom, and talk to you soon.